What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. This is the ultimate meeting of supply and demand and why you don't buy into the freaking hype. We know that OTS Pack 12 shipments were supposed to be at locals in a previous weekend, but they didn't seem to make it out there, and now just one weekend with them out there in almost everybody's arms, the prices are dipping like crazy. We're here Monday after the mass release, and Solemn Judgment already down towards $75. There were $70 copies available last night, and we see a Mad Lad already going for $65 here on eBay. Independent motivated sellers on cards there aren't a ton of copies of isn't the most uncommon thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I called it crawling towards 70, but it's bursting through that ceiling very early on here. Twin Twisters towards $60 here on TCG Player, multiple motivated sellers. It's crazy. 4 whole copies of this already available. That's a playset, and then another one before it's $67 here, which was undercutting eBay that had $68 copies. It's really trying to hang in there. I see it being a $70 card in the future, but I did call it crawling towards 60. It's smashing towards 60. So where the real fallout will be, it's your guess as good as mine. And then Chaos Dragon Legionnaire, I called being towards $50. It's already towards 60 here, and we see on eBay a $55 copy before auctions are actually even above that already. So if you were bidding into the hype early, you're already missing out on cheaper ones, and only one left. It looks like they actually sold one as well. So when I'm looking at this OTS pack, all 3 cards are somewhat generic. Chaos Dragon being a chaos monster, as long as lights and or darks are good in the game, it's going to be good, and it's searchable by Brotar right now, which is at its lowest price point in a long time. You have Twin Twisters being generic, spell and trap removal, that it's really hard to power creep, but we could get one Heartbeast Feather Duster, and then we get Lightning Storm coming. There's graveyard resources to be had from Twin Twisters. A lot of people will want to play it still. And Solemn Judgment, a goodie, an oldie, and a stun player's best friend in some cases. I think this is amazing, but there's still people getting their hands on mass boxes of these, tearing them open already. I've seen it on Zodiac, where they have, 5 ultimate rares already pulled from a fresh box, and that's going to be happening. Quantities are going to be getting out there, and people are going to undercut each other on these. So there's an estimated value pull of people just wanting their money back, taking everything else for 3, making a little bit of money, and they're going to try to sell at a price point that makes that happen from 5 ultimate rares for their box that they spin on, and that's really easy with these right now. So you're going to see that continue to happen, and the prices continue to drop for a little bit while it's available, but definitely one of the best OTS packs of all time. Let's get into some other talk with the OCG ban list. There are some hiccups in price. You could have got Whiptail again for $12 still for its ultimate rare not too long ago. It's rebought out to $20. We've seen this so many freaking times that it's kind of cyclical at this point. Barrage baby bumping up in price, but still available under market price for original unlimited. People did go for the first sets, and you see Zodiac Trident, which is what came off of the OCG ban list. People are going after, but still readily available under a $5 mark. I think people do play this as a past format, so they have the first ed copies already if they've been enjoying that. And if you weren't prepared for this to come off at some point, well, I was a believer that it shouldn't because of Zoo the Engine. A lot of people think that it can, and it won't be abused in much besides Lunalights. Zoo the Engine is good for linking up with. Whenever you have Barrage, which specials from deck, and then you can get into 2 free pieces and a pop, that's insane to me, but we'll see what it does in the OCG once it's allowed. Speaking of a card that they have that helps stop things like that from being crazy, Maxie Ultimate Rare is towards 250, lowest here on TCG Player, and bought out on eBay from the price point that we saw was at $180 before. This is absurd. If you're doing insane buyouts like this, please use my TCG Player link in the description down below when shopping for them, costing you nothing extra besides the insane cards you would already be buying. What will realistically happen to this if it peels off of our ban list all the way to 3? Well, the demand will be pretty great. It could be a $500 card, but do remember Magician of Faith. When it originally got unbanned, it was $80, and it actually dipped to $30 because no one played it. Maxie will be the opposite. Everyone will be playing it, siding it, or thinking of it as an option or want it as an option. There's many different copies. You can go first at Original Secret, but we've seen Ultimate Rare trumps this in almost every case. There are very few exceptions where ultimate rare for us in the TCG does not beat first ed original. So this really could be a $500 card if it peels off the list. That would be crazy. Tour Guide's ultimate rare didn't really baby bump up at all. Like, it's only $8 above market price, or $4 above market price here at $68, and we see 5 copies from this one seller, Duelist Academy. The unlimited secret rare under market price and the first eds are still available, I think around $21. It's not that hard to find them, so these are still around and available in plenty at this price point. So it's not like people freaked out over Tour Guide, and I think a lot of BA players are similar to Mermail players. They keep their max rarity version deck just set aside and they come back to it. A lot of people are playing block BA right now too. Tour Guide is an option that doesn't stall you as much anymore because when it gets impermed, you just summon more level 3s, you go into Dante. You're not restricted like you once were in the deck just to the BA names, and this being a choke point. So I do think Tour Guide going to 2 or 3 would help, but I don't know about the implication from the OCG to TCG because the TCG has really slashed off their semi-limit pool. Necros got a huge bump on the OCG ban list from Unicorn. I'm going to repeat myself over and over on this. The secret rares have the highest ceiling to go up, but they're still at ridiculously high prices right now, and they have been for a while. This isn't anything new, but for me, I would be after the super cheapo ultra rares. They have the best percentage to go up, like they could go up towards $5 in a hype moment, and stuff like this, it's just, it costs nothing when it's locked behind a $30 price point. Actually, Necros of Unicorn, let's look that up real quick. I thought I had the tab up. This bad boy goes for like nothing even for secret rare as well, so you can take your pick and option if you want to match or not. But if it peels off to 2, you can bet people will be after this and testing it. It's a floodgate against extra deck monsters, which is insane, but I don't know that people will still be out there with Necros. We'll have to look to the OCG for that as well. It did top a YCS, and people do like to point out he made errors that I myself make, such as extravagance and Valk later throughout a long turn when you forget you extravaganced. It's an honest mistake, I think, no matter how much you play the deck. Sometimes turns just take very long and you start thinking 4 plays ahead, and you get into something you can't do. But do remember the confliction and the problems that this has in terms of consistency. I don't think one Unicorn necessarily fixes that, but they do have some awesome options. This is one that a player in my Discord brought up recently. Skyscraper 2 Ulti has been bought out to the point of $10. I feel like any old Ulti it happens to, but this does have to do with all the rolling hero hype. But it brought my attention to something else. Skyscraper Ultimate Rare itself is a low of $37 freaking dollars. That's pretty crazy. And when we look up Skyscraper in general, it's surprising to me because every single copy of this throughout time is worth something. A DR rare, unsurprising that it would be above $5, but the Legendary Collection common, wow, it's pretty much towards $3. The Gold common is actually above $2 and very low in price. This is just kind of nostalgic to the show. The original super rare from CRV, where does this land? If you have this sitting in your bulk, it's not just $2, it's towards $2.50. And we do see one available for $2.35. But my point is, almost every copy of this throughout time now has just gone up. It's not like it's being played or anything. It's just a factor from the show. It's from GX. It's something people remember, and something I definitely didn't know was worth this much for what was sitting in my own bulk. So something to keep an eye out and maybe make yourself some money on. Oh man, it's just crazy to me what people are after these days. And then finally, the Galaxy Eyes were something I was looking at. It got new support upcoming that is really actually good for it. The Ghost Rare is at a low of $80 for the first edition, but it's towards $40 for the Unlims. I don't think it's going to go under this point for Unlims. Like, maybe it could sink towards 30, but I think the rolling buyouts will eventually push this up towards 50, maybe even 60. It's the Blue Eyes counterpart from the anime, the 3000/2500 dragon that matches him, and people really look at this also with kind of a fondness for the nostalgia. And another reason I was looking at this was somebody in the Discord, an open chat during the live stream, brought up Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon. The secret rare is exactly the same price as the super rare, and we have a lot more Blue Eyes support, which means rank 8 dot deck coming up. It's an amazing rank 8 in its own right, and maybe you should get the secret rare sooner than later rather than the super rare from the worst duelist pack ever. It's definitely a great option to have, and I wouldn't sleep on this, but then again, it could get a reprint at some point down the line, so keep that in mind too. Just if you're in the market, get that free upgrade for yourself. Thank you guys for watching today's Market Watch. What did you think of everything? I know we hopped around kind of from OTS Pack to the ban list to kind of random suggestions and things I've been looking at, but it's a pretty good feeling in the winter market right now to see how invested people are into Yu-Gi-Oh! When there's so little actually going on, and usually the market just chills out completely at this point, yet we're in some places. Like, you can definitely find cards that like Brotar, actually, when we look at Brotar. I know, professional Market Watch streamer, by the way, Omni Dragon, there we go. Brotar here is actually at its lowest price point ever, $6. And that's thanks to the winter market, but you have Needle Fiber coming, you have the Ebb combo possibly being abused with that depending on the ban list, and this helps you Guard Dragon M combo with Needle Fiber. Like, there's all-time low points that you can look at, but also Dark Neostorm cards like Sign Up Mining are getting reprinted in the March set, so people really don't know the moves to make, and it's a lot of calls and speculation. There's a lot of room to win here, and there is a lot of room to lose. So be careful during this winter market, especially, you know, with your tax returns coming and you expecting certain things. Be careful with what you're spending on. There's no guarantees, but there's definitely a lot of tasty things to go in on. Subscribe if you haven't already. 50 subs away from 50,000. You all are really just pulling the channel forward at a rate it hasn't gone in a long time, and I truly appreciate it. Like the video if you did enjoy the conversation, and I know we're kind of hopping around all over, but I really kind of enjoy these kinds of market watches more, where there's not really as much of a structure to them. It kind of feels more enjoyable to me. But let me know what you guys think.